Hey, how you going? It's Donna here, and today I thought I'd share a bit of a story of a healing I did for a dog, a Rottweiler named Sheeba. The owner came to me because Sheeba was persistently barking at night. She just would not stop. She just kept barking and barking and barking and barking and barking. And he said he had done everything that he could do, and it was just getting all too much. Yeah, and obviously he's concerned for the dog, the fact that she's barking so much, but also for the neighbours and thinking, oh my God, the neighbours are going to complain and all the rest of it. So he came to me through, I guess, a friend of a friend, a friend of a person. And he was an older guy, but he seemed to be open to energy healing and said, you know, let's give this a shot. I think he had like come to his last straw and thought nothing else is working. He said he had dogs in the past and he knows how to train them. So yeah, admittedly, I must admit that I was concerned. I thought this was a training issue, dogs barking. I didn't really think that energy healing would solve the problem, but we went ahead with it, give it a crack and see what happens. So anyway, I did the healing, and the first thing that came up for Sheeba was she just needed to be energetically grounded, which is just, you know, getting her calm and centered and connected with Mother Earth, and get her out of her mental, I guess you could say. Then she had an emotion that I needed to release that she picked up from the owner. With energy healing, things that need to be healed first will be healed first. Like what I do is very much based on priority healing. So sometimes stuff comes up that has really nothing to do, or you don't think has anything to do with the issue at hand, but you know, sometimes you got to unpeel some layers to get to the next layer. So yeah, there was an emotion that just needed to be released that she picked up from her owner. Yeah, our dogs can do that. They can pick up our emotions. And then what came up was some chakra balancing. So she needed her solar plexus cleared and balanced. Solar plexus is all about personal power and will. And then she needed her dependence chakra cleared and balanced. So that's all to do with her independence. That may have came up because basically when she barked, it was as soon as they put her outside, like, yeah, the owner would put her outside for the evening and the lights would go off in the house so they could go to sleep. And that's when she'd start barking. So that independence thing, maybe she was, you know, just not wanting to be away from the family. So anyway, what came up next then was a bit of colour therapy. She needed the metaphysical aspect of magenta. Magenta is all about harmony, balance. It's about assurance and confidence. So it kind of made sense that that came up. She then needed her nervous system balanced, her adrenal system balanced, and her urinary system balanced. So I did that. So, you know, there was sort of nothing out of the norm to start with. She then needed another emotion. Another emotion came up that was her own emotion of being of service, which kind of made sense. I mean, she's a Rottweiler and they're designed to be guard dogs, aren't they? That it's in their breeding. So she had that strong emotion of wanting to be of service and maybe thinking she was barking all night because she had to bark. Or maybe there was something to bark at. I don't know. So anyway, I released or balanced that for her. And then what came up once I had done that was just solar plexus and dependent chakras needed clearing and balancing again. Sometimes what happens during an energy healing session is you might do something at the start, but then it needs redoing again later, because as you're healing, things get moved around. It's a bit like, well, my mentor described it as having a jar of marbles, and when you remove one marble, all the rest of it gets affected. So it's sometimes like when you're removing some layers within the energy healing, those chakras might have got out of whack again. So just rebalancing them and getting them back up to their bright selves and how they need to be. And so anyway, like I said, nothing really out of the norm was coming up. But then what came up was visiting energy. Yeah, visiting energy. And so when I delved into it a little bit more, what I deciphered was that this visiting energy was another dog, and it was possibly the owner's previous dog, and it too was a Rottweiler. So this is what I came up with. And then then this is interesting because straight after it, Sheeba required an animal essence, so like a flower essence, but designed for animals, and it was called Grief Relief. So it's all about obviously processing grief and helping to release grief. And I thought that was interesting because as far as I knew, Sheeba hadn't lost anyone, and I just kind of knew for some reason, given the visiting energy that came up, I put the two and two together and thought, well, I think this is more about the owner than it is about the dog. Yeah, so that came up, and then to finish off, I just needed to re-clear and balance Sheeba's solar plexus. So anyway, I'd completed the energy healing. Every time I do a healing, I always ask if another one is needed for the same issue, and no, there wasn't. So one healing did it all. So I kind of figured, well, it was obviously about that visiting energy. I guess Sheeba could sense it around her. So anyway, I spoke with the owner straight afterwards. I always do, either with a voice message, or if they live locally, I can ring them on their mobile. So I gave him a call, and when I mentioned about the visiting energy, he goes, oh wow, that's really interesting, because he had lost a previous Rottweiler about 6 months prior to, and for some reason Sheeba always lied down during the day outside at his previous dog's favourite place. So it was sort of like under a tree or something, but always in the exact same place. So I think he became a believer after that. And yeah, it was just, and obviously, yes, he had been processing some grief. He still did feel a lot of grief for the loss of that dog. So that's why that animal essence came up, because our animals do pick up off us. And sometimes, like I said, I had to provide Sheeba with some grief relief because she was picking that up from her owner. So anyway, so we left it at that. I told him that's all cool, you know, no more further sessions were needed. I gave him a call about a week or so afterwards, and he said there had been no real change yet. So it took a little while to integrate, because then 2 weeks afterwards he said, yep, she has not barked now for 4 nights in a row. And then 4 weeks afterwards, she had completely stopped barking. So, and the only change had been the energy healing. So it was thanks to the energy healing. So yeah, I was really surprised. Like I said, I didn't think energy healing was going to help Sheeba with her barking. I really did think it was a training issue. So it was lovely to help her out. It's obviously lovely to help Sheeba so that she doesn't feel the need to bark anymore. Lovely to help out the owner and also the neighbours. The neighbourhood's a little bit quieter now. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that story. I thought it was quite interesting. Hope you did too. Feel free to leave any comments down below if you thought it was interesting, or if you have any questions. But otherwise, that's all from me, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.